I was 5 years old, I was a confident, tenacious, persistent kid. My cousin told me that I couldn't play Hot Wheels because I was a girl, so I knocked everything over because if I couldn't play, no one could. I'm the only girl of 6 brothers and stepbrothers, and sometimes I'd use video games to escape. Do you guys remember The Sims? I would spend hours just designing houses. I was like, oh my God, this is so fun. I wish there was a job where I can just do this forever. And that's when my dad introduced me to architecture. And the rest was history. There was no plan B. I was going to school for architecture. In high school, I was the senior executive class president. My grades put me in the top 10 of my class. National Honor Society. My academic resume was amazing. So, naturally, I got into New Jersey's Institute of Technology, specifically their School of Architecture. According to niche.com, NJIT is one of the most diverse schools in the state, and at the time was only one of 2 universities that had an accredited architecture program. I was so excited that I was accepted. The summer before my first semester in college, I was part of this 6-week academic boot camp. This program had introductory math and English courses, and in my case, introductory design courses. It was meant to help incoming freshmen from underserved communities get acclimated to college life. You couldn't tell me that I wasn't prepared for college. Fast forward, the first day of class felt like I had already missed a semester. There were people who had parents that were architects, people that had been using design software since their sophomore year of high school, and I'd barely even heard of AutoCAD, which is a program that professionals use to create technical drawings. While I was trying to figure out how to pay for my computer, there were people building their own. I felt inadequate, and that was something that I had to deal with for a lot of my college experience. There was a specific time where the studio professor had all the students rate each other for their midterm. Whoever had the lowest rating would be at risk of failing. Somehow, all the people of color ended up at the bottom. Imagine my surprise facing blatant racism at one of the state's most diverse universities. After this experience, I decided to go into construction. For me, there was an excitement I felt when I thought about being there to see a building go from design to conception. I asked a family friend who owned a construction company at the time if I could work with him, and he had every excuse in the book for why he couldn't take me on. It's too dangerous. I know the risk. You'll get dirty. I know it's construction. I don't have the money right now. Look, I don't care if you pay me. I just want some experience. He didn't hire me, and a month later, he showed up to my house with a male assistant. This was a continued theme. This is where the intersection of race and gender meet. As a Black person from an urban area, the chances of me having the resources and support to excel in an architecture program were already slim. After all, according to the Association of Collegiate Schools of Architecture, only 1.9% of architecture degrees accredited by the National Architectural Accrediting Board were earned by Black women. Once I decided to get involved in construction, people in my own community were gatekeeping under the guise of keeping me safe. Diversity and inclusion is a popular topic right now in every industry. According to Time magazine, Google reportedly spent $114 million on its diversity program in 2014. Its diversity report in 2019 showed that Blacks made up just 3.3% of the workforce and held 2.1% of tech and 2.6% of leadership roles. Major companies are seeking minority women specifically in construction, but oftentimes people claim they can't find any woman of color. and in turn, continue to utilize the same contractors. So these events raise an interesting question. How does the industry get more women of color to enter and succeed in construction? First, exposure. Allow young black girls to understand that construction, architecture, or whatever is an option for them. Don't diminish a girl's desire to have an unconventional job. What if companies put effort into visiting high schools in inner city neighborhoods? New York City's non-traditional employment for women, or NEW, is an initiative to introduce young women fresh out of high school to the construction industry. They have different boot camps and programs depending on how much exposure the applicant wants. A program of this capacity is a rarity, and for some, still too late. Second is scholarships. Universities and major construction companies should invest into the communities they'd like to see represented within their institutions. How can one expect black women to have construction companies if they can't even get through university due to systemic racism? What if scholarships were advertised to the public and not only revealed through word of mouth? There are organizations, such as the National Association for Women in Construction, that provide students with scholarship and mentorship, but they aren't known unless you know to search for it. Universities should reach out to these organizations to have more student chapters on campus. Going above and beyond shows the institution's dedication to success. Last, take a chance. For 2 years, I searched for a full-time job or internship. I revised my resume and went on more interviews than I like to admit. So, what changed? I went to my first Beyonce concert. Seriously, I had the concert on a Sunday, and then that week I had 2 interviews, and I got both of them. But really, someone took a chance on me, and that changed the direction of my career. But even in that, there were struggles. A few years into construction, I found myself in a state of depression because I lost myself. I rejected my femininity because I was afraid it made me look weak in a male-dominated industry. I felt alone, and like no one really knew me. Once I realized I was wearing a mask, I was able to seek mentorship amongst other black women in construction. It's not a huge community, but it's enough to recognize you're not alone in your struggles. Granted, these suggestions are happening on a micro level, but they are not the industry standard and are happening far and few in between. Even if everyone who hears this talk jumps to action right now, there are still women in construction today that are trying to succeed. Ladies that are just getting started in construction, here are a few things to keep in mind. 1, remain confident. You know how hard you worked to get to where you are right now. Honestly, you've probably worked twice as hard as other people. There will be people that try to make you feel like you're less than, like your voice doesn't matter. Hold your head up high and know that you deserve to be where you stand. 2, resilience. Don't take no for an answer, and there will be a lot of them. For every no you get, you're getting closer to that yes. 3, be authentic. As a black woman in construction, it's so easy to lose yourself in the industry. Embrace who you are and all that you bring to the table. There is no other person like you. Construction is a tough industry, but it's definitely changing. Construction sites today look different from when even I started. I see more women in not only project management, but on-site in the field getting their hands dirty. But just because they're there doesn't mean they're being presented with the opportunities to excel. I once had someone tell me, in response to my request for a promotion, that leadership is when someone wants to listen to you, not has to listen to you. Well, a few years later, I'm on a global stage talking to you fine folks. I think people want to listen to me. Thank you.